Glad you chose to stop by the channel today. Just wanted to give you an opportunity to really become a part of this community here at the Coach Smook Network. We like to call ourselves the AAA family. The AAA stands for authenticity above all. We just want to give you an opportunity to become a part of this community because we're growing and we're doing something special here as a fan base, not just for Alabama, but the fan community as a whole. We're creating an environment where it's safe to be yourself, be authentic, and meet people who share the same passion you share, whether it's for the same team or not. You can do this by becoming a member of the AAA family. You simply start by just clicking the link provided to you by one of the moderators in the chat, or it'll be pinned to the top of the chat. Click that link. It'll bring you to my homepage. When you get to my homepage, make sure you hit the notification button and turn on all notifications. Understand that there are multiple ways to support the channel, and each level has its perks. You can go through and read each perk. As we continue to grow, new perks will be added to each level. One thing we would like to highlight that all AAA members are greatly appreciated. It does not go unnoticed that you have taken time and hard-earned money to support this channel. Once you join, YouTube is going to ask for some payment information, and make sure you monitor your subscription dates. Also, if you really want to get interactive with the community and find out what's going on, think about joining our Discord family. This is where you can get into all the fan talk of the community, and also there are networking opportunities. Please be mindful that there are rules and that we expect everyone to treat everyone with respect. Also, if you're looking to partner with Coach Smook Network or sponsor, please hit us up at coachsmooknetwork@gmail.com, and our staff will get back to you in a timely manner. I'm your boy, Coach Smook of the Coach Smook Network, and I thank you for supporting this channel. Mute. Let's go, AAA family. How y'all feeling this evening? Good evening, everybody. Good evening. Y'all, we got a special treat for y'all. We got a special guest coming up right now. Listen, y'all already know how we do. Before you even get started, before we even get into this conversation, and y'all talking about, I've been waiting for this for a while, man. It's been some names that I'm crossing off the list when it comes to Bama football coverage that I've personally met in person, that I looked up to coming up as a teenager and a young adult coming into this industry, watching Alabama football coverage on YouTube as it transitioned from newspaper to the internet through Facebook, and then the YouTube is real heavy now. Now you see it on Twitter, everywhere. But this is a face of Alabama football coverage, and you all know him as Mr. QB Country, but Mr. Jimmy Stein is here with us tonight. So y'all need to come in, run it up, share the stream. If you're on Twitter, if you're on Twitch, Kick, all those other platforms, run up the information, run up the likes. Hey, share the stream right now. Share the stream right now to whatever public social media platform you utilize, because you don't want to miss this conversation tonight with myself and the OG. I call him one of the GOATs of Alabama football coverage, Jimmy Stein. So if y'all ready to get into it, somebody type in the chat. Somebody say it for me real quick. Somebody real quick. Y'all know what to do. Put me in the game, Coach Smook. Let's do it. Uh-oh, I got a little freeze. Here we go. You're talking about Jalen Milroe and the Pips? The perfect weak side linebacker, right? Put him next to the mic.
I'm not going to take up a lot of time, but I want to say that I'm excited about what.
Okay, forgive me, my brother. What's on your mind?
Oh, I'm good. I'm just still sorry for all the other content creators now that we have this mega star back in our presence.
Without further ado, y'all, we got the man, the myth, the legend. Mr. Jimmy Stein is in the building. What's up?
Coach, just real honored to be on the show. Fan of yours, fan of the show. Thank you so much for asking me to be on.
Man, listen, Jimmy, this is an honor myself, man. I kept telling everybody we was cooking up some stuff. We had Mick last month. We had Clint come on a few months ago. Stephen M. Smith, a lot of the guys that literally have impacted the way that Alabama football is covered at this day and age. With so many changes just in the Bama fan base alone, we've seen a change in our media availability, the level that we're available, and the type of information that we're putting out. A lot more closer to the locker room that we ever saw during the Saban era. And for personalities like yourself, Luke, and the other guys I just mentioned, it's a great opportunity and a great honor to have you on, man. And I'm ready to do it, man. If y'all don't know where Jimmy Stein is, Jimmy, tell the people where they can follow you at before we get into it, and then we'll also give another opportunity to show up. It ain't like they don't know, because we definitely talk about y'all a lot over here, but let the people know where you're coming from, Jimmy.
Hey, I appreciate that, Coach. Locked on Bama every day, 7 days a week with my partner, Luke Robinson. Luke and I, we've been doing it for a while, and the show's going really well, and we enjoy it literally every day, and a post-game reaction show. I'm also on with Clint Lamb twice a week on Crimson Cover, sometimes more often than that. And hey, I used to be a lawyer. I was a lawyer for 20 years, and I was able to transition in this career 2.0 to talking ball every day, talking Alabama every day. Couldn't be happier to do it, to share my thoughts and opinions. I'm so glad that anyone out there cares, especially people like Coach Smook, who he's a ball knower, as they say.
Look, I appreciate the kind words, man. And as always, y'all, chat, make sure y'all go and show Locked On Bama some love. I see a lot of my community commenting over there in the comments already. Continue to support the quality content creation around Alabama football, everybody. But today, we didn't come here to give each other accolades. We didn't come in here to boost each other up, because that's going to do itself. It's going to do its own thing. Today, I just wanted to get some real voices, man, some people that have watched Alabama football and paid close attention from multiple angles of understanding the game and how we are able to be closely involved with this. Luke, Jimmy, I'm sorry. I keep saying I'm thinking about Luke, but Jimmy
happens every day. People often confuse us because he's 6'5" and I'm 5'8".
Right, I don't get it. And I've met both of y'all in person, so I don't know why I'm getting it mixed up. But when you look at this Alabama Crimson Tide team, I saw a lot of your segments going into the season, preseason things. A lot of the anticipation that we had. A lot of us were disappointed week one. Right. Yeah. And we had our doubts. But since week one, I think this team has looked totally different. From your point of view, Luke, give me an explanation, just an overall synopsis of your feels around this team and how they've progressed between games 1 and currently game 8 right now.
You know, my answer to that has changed over time. And I say this sort of jokingly, but, you know, we'll do our show every single day all during the offseason. I think we'll be talking about the Florida State game all the way to next August.
Yes.
I mean, it's so significant in the sense that I think it's an outlier, but on the same tone, you could say, well, it also looked a little bit like 2024 when you're losing to inferior teams on the road. So to some extent, it's an extension of 2024. And on the other extent, as we've seen in 2025, it's a bit of an outlier.
Yeah.
What I don't like as an explanation for what happened is they just weren't ready to play.
Yeah.
I don't really believe that's true, because Alabama gets the kick, they drive it down the field offensively, and that drive, Coach, that was as good as any drive as we've seen all season long. That was a good balanced drive, Ty throwing it, Alabama running it. You get in the end zone against a quality defense. Then you kick off and hold them to 3 and out. Now, there was a penalty on 3rd down that extended their drive, and it sort of turned the game around at that point. But that's why I don't like the explanation that they just weren't ready to play. No, they came out of the gate pretty good. What they weren't ready for is getting punched in the mouth.
Ow.
That's what surprised them. And I think sometimes you're driving the car and it goes into a ditch and it's time to drive it out of the ditch, and they couldn't. I don't think they were ready to respond to adversity or respond to, hey, we're down. How did this happen? Maybe they went down there to play a 2-10 football team, and then we're very surprised to find that even though Florida State is clearly not an elite team, I think the season has proven that, still pretty good. They're not the 2-10 team they were a year ago. But my answer is, it's not that they weren't ready to play. It's that they weren't ready to respond. And game 2 and forward, they've clearly developed that. But they weren't ready for it in week 1.
100%. And I can agree with that sentiment there. I've been totally against blaming the coaching staff for that performance. I think at some point, the level of players and the level of talent that we have, you want to just buckle your chin strap and play football. Regardless of what the coach calls, you want to go out there when it's in you. You're going to go out there. You're going to play football. Don't matter what the especially defensively. And I think that's where we saw the failure at. But since that game, there's been a level of attentiveness from this defense. You can see it. The eyes are in the right spot more and more every week. We're seeing less missed tackles. We're seeing a game. We've had 2 games this season with 0 defensive penalties. So this is one of those things where your outlier take is where I lean towards because of the consistency shown since week 1. But what's your thoughts on the rest of the season, man? We saw after the 2 rebound games, we saw Alabama. We witnessed them go on the road to Athens to kick this gauntlet off. The gauntlet was established before Vanderbilt got ranked. All of these teams have been ranked before we saw Georgia, so we knew what we were walking into. How does it feel to see a team go in week 1, perform the way they did, then have the 2 games, and then go into this gauntlet, 5 games straight, conference opponents, ranked opponents, 4 out of the 5, and handle it the way they did? Close games, good sizable wins, multiple ways we won the game. What's your feels around that now that the team is transitioning to that persona or that perception of the team?
Yeah, good job by the coaching staff to rally the guys. And I think you'll understand this as well as anyone. I think when you're embarrassed, I think they were embarrassed. I think week 1 embarrassed them. And I don't know that there's any, these kids, we watch a lot of football right on TV,
Yep.
but almost all the football we watch on TV is pro football. But these kids they're 18 to 22, 18 to 24 years old. I think embarrassment is a heck of a jet fuel for them.
Yes, sir.
I think more so than almost any other word we can come up with. I think they were embarrassed after week 1, and I think they responded based on, hey, this isn't who we are, and they were a little embarrassed. Now that's only going to carry you so long. The reason they're 7-1 with only 4 games to play, part response from the embarrassment, but also they're good.
Yes,
this is a good football team. They got a lot of players on offense and defense. Ty Simpson has been, I was pretty high on Ty before the season started. I felt like he had a chance to be good for any number of reasons, but I think he's been beyond expectations, especially in terms of the efficiency. Now, it's not like he's throwing for 380 yards every week and doing all these highlight plays that make SportsCenter top 10. That's not who he is, but he's efficient. He doesn't give the ball to the other team. Hey, this is a great story if you got 20 seconds.
Go ahead, brother.
Great story. I remember Ray Perkins. He was a head coach at Alabama after Coach Bryant.
Yep, Bryant.
And I was around Coach Perkins very briefly for this little thing back, I think it was around 2009, and Greg McElroy was the quarterback, who by the way, I'll be honest, and I like G-Mac, but G-Mac wasn't as athletically gifted as Ty is, but he clearly could win games.
Yes.
But I was in a conversation, and Coach Perk he was part of that conversation, and everyone was talking except him. And some people had some sort of almost negative things to say due to the fact that, G-Mac wasn't the most athletically gifted guy in the world. But Coach Perkins, he just said one sentence, and it stuck with me for all these years. And he said, you know what about that guy that I like? He doesn't throw it to the other team.
That part.
And that's what sticks with me about Ty. Ty is a better package than G-Mac in terms of size, strength, athleticism, foot speed. But you know what? A lot like Greg, he doesn't throw it to the other team. And exactly. I really think that's Alabama's success and the formula this year is the offense isn't explosive like it was under Jalen. And under Jalen, it was very explosive at times. But under Ty, it's been more consistent. They don't give the ball away. They don't go 3 and out. They possess the ball, and they make the other team beat you.
Yeah.
And I think that's been the formula since the week 1 disaster.
And you said something key towards the end of your statement there. We're making other teams have to beat us. We're not beating ourselves this year. I can honestly look back at last year's, and we can talk about the performances, the stats, and those losses, those 3 regular season losses. But I could look back at those games, and I could say we had opportunities to win those games if we execute at a higher level, if we have 7 or 8 less penalties, if we have 6 or 7 less missed tackles against Vanderbilt.
Go back if and I implore you, the fans and the users that's watching the chat, go watch that game from last year. We had a lot of missed tackles in the first quarter, and that's where Vanderbilt really established their momentum. Fast forward to this year, we haven't allowed teams since, and I wouldn't even say they did it week one. I think we did a very good job the first 2 drives defensively week one. Yes, we gave up points, but we played a solid brand of defense those first 2 drives, and then you just saw it disappear. And then from that, the first 2 drive look that we got, I've seen us stack on that ever since the Georgia game. The Vanderbilt game was a key game for me. Some stops in that game, shovel pass, you beat us on it twice, but the second time you beat us on it, you had to fight for it. You had to beat us. And it's just small things in parts of the season that kind of just keep me on this up and up trend as far as my take on how this team is progressing. I want to get your thoughts real quick because there was a lot of talk about firing this coach, firing that coach. You know, last year was Nick Sheridan and Kane Womack. Kalen DeBoer is not ready, all of this stuff. As he was winning, you know, still having a winning SEC conference record, a winning season record, top 3 recruiting class coming in his first year. Didn't even have a full cycle to recruit, and even reloaded last year early with the 26 class early commits that we were already had. So what is your thoughts around the message or the noise of get rid of these coaches? If you could respond, not like professional Jimmy Stein, if you just could be good old Jimmy chilling down at Buffalo Fields, you know what I'm saying? Like, you get what I'm saying? If you could be that Jimmy.
That happens, by the way.
I see you there. That's why I know. I love Buffalo Fields, man. If y'all ever go to Buffalo Fields in T-Town on the Strip, man, make sure y'all get the Buffalo chicken dip to start your. Oh my God.
Nice.
But yeah, what's your thoughts on that, on this whole fire the coach? And then on the back end of that, double it up with how do you see this staff continuing to progress? Because me personally, I love the adjustments in real time that we're seeing on both sides of the ball now. Something that was non-existent last year. I love the adjustments that we're seeing. So give me your thoughts on that, Jimmy.
First of all, I'll never believe, regardless of how the DeBoer era works out, Alabama, and I don't know. I mean, I know you don't know. I don't know how the DeBoer thing's going to work out long term. I'm older than Coach. I've been around. I've seen the Perkins, Curry, Stallings, Dubose, Franchione. I named them all in a row. I've seen it all. I've seen it all from beginning to how it worked out. I don't know how the DeBoer thing's going to work out, but I do know this. I don't care how it works out. I'll always believe this was a good hire. This was a good hire. I like the staff. It may not work out. Well, one of the things that I point to is, everybody listening to the show is an Alabama basketball fan to an extent. Anthony Grant. Mm-hmm. At the time they hired Anthony Grant, that was a good hire. Everyone in the country was trying to hire him. He had a great resume and every factor you wanted to be a successful big-time basketball coach. Then he gets here, and there was some winning. But at some point, it became obvious that for Alabama to reach a different level, and they clearly have under Nate Oates. Alabama basketball's never been better. And I realize Anthony Grant was a couple coaches ago. I just use him as an example of he's a good coach. Yeah. He was a good coach when they hired him. He was a good coach when he was here. It didn't work out like Alabama wanted it to work out, and he's proved since he's left, and now he's at Dayton, that he's a good football coach. That's what I think of when I think of, hey, if the DeBoer thing doesn't work out, doesn't mean he's not a good coach. He was a good coach when they hired him. He'll be a good coach after Alabama, because there's probably a time where there will be an after Alabama for him. I like the hire. I like the guy. I like his staff. It's a different era. Era. It's not the Coach Saban era. NIL, the portal, the clock rules, all these things have been dramatic changes that's made parity more of a thing that Coach Saban didn't necessarily deal with. And that's not comparing DeBoer to Saban. I'm just saying that I think comparing DeBoer to Saban is apples to oranges, and it's unfair to both of them. It's just a different era of football. I like DeBoer. I like his staff. I get that there's going to be nitpicking, because I do it myself every single day on our show. Hey, I don't like this. I don't like this. But I think people are a little too quick to want to hit the eject button on the jet and eject from the seat into the ocean. People are too quick for that. I saw today, Coach, that on the Penn State, They paid $50 million to fire James Franklin.
That's
$50
crazy.
million just to fire him. And this is a guy that had Penn State in the semifinals and literally one drive away from the national championship game. And then they're number one this year. And they not only fire him, they pay $50 million to do it. And the leading odds maker to be the head coach is Brian Hartline at Penn State. And by the way, Hartline has been fantastic in everything he's done. Maybe the best wide receiver coach in college football.
I give it to him.
Maybe the best recruiter in college football. 1 year as an OC. Now he's going to be the head coach at Penn State. And you fired the last guy with his unbelievable list of success. People are just too quick, I think, to hit the eject button on a successful coach to choose whatever's behind, door number 3. And that bothers me.
Hey, if Alabama Nation, and I'm talking to our fans right now, if you all want to be in Florida's boat or Auburn's boat, by all means, let's get rid of Kane Womack. Let's send Jamarcus Shepard. It's no secret that people are trying to poach the staff, and there's a reason why. There's a reason why Florida wants Ryan Grubb right now. A coach that just came from the NFL. He's probably not in the mood to move anywhere, no matter how good the money looks, and especially the way everything's looking with him. His first year with his first quarterback, Ty Simpson. Ryan Grubb is about to pad his resume off of this year alone. But I look at the staff and I look at the some of the things schematically that we were expecting to come over. I talk about Kane Womack's defense, the 4-2-5. Everybody had their words, but when I watch South Alabama, in that defense, and no, they don't play the level competition that you're going to see in the SEC. But I watched the mentality of that defense. That's why South Alabama's defense was so effective while he was there. You go back to the year him and Coach Kalen DeBoer were the coordinators at Indiana. They started off 6-1. And that same year they played Ohio State to the letter. They played them to the end. So this is not a all of a sudden type of success of philosophies that we're clashing together or bringing together to mingle or mix. We're talking about two different coaches with two different philosophies at two different multiple locations, with their philosophy being the primary source of why these teams were experiencing the success that they were. And I don't see how anybody could ask for something better when we know what you're getting from Lane Kiffin. You know what you're getting from Jeremy Pruitt. You know what you're getting from Kirby Moore and some of these other coordinators and coaches across the country. But we're still in question of what Kalen DeBoer was going to do. Why go with what you know when you got something that's really trending upward? Kalen DeBoer has gone every stop he's made after the 20th game. Kalen DeBoer is 9-1 after every stop. 9-1 after the 20th game of having a program under his helm. That's turning a 3-9 Fresno State to 3-3 in COVID season, then 10-2. Then you go to Washington. I think they went 2-10 the year before he got there. They go win 10-2 the next year to end the national championship. You come to Alabama after a 10-2 or 10-3 season. You maintain basically the same clip of winning. And now this year you see the different trend. I think people just need to pump the brakes. And it's easy to pump the brakes when you're winning. But right now, if you truly pump the brakes and look at how this team has transitioned through the biggest college football head coaching move of 2024 when Coach Saban retired last year, that was the craziest thing. I remember getting a call from you remember my old buddy. I remember getting a call from him that morning and it was like, hey, full court press, get on the line. Like, you don't see that in a lot of different organizations and programs. So I think, Caleb, I'm right there with you, man. I agree. Can we flip the page to LSU week, though? This is one of them. Chat, y'all know how I get about LSU. It's something about playing Georgia. I know Tennessee is a rival. Me personally, I got a lot of Tennessee family, so we only talk trash during Tennessee week. They pretty cordial with me during the off season, during the rest of the games. I don't have no real problems with Tennessee fans. I guess I just haven't met the bad bunch. But LSU, Georgia, they get me up. And I don't care if they lost, if they had freaking Nick Saban over there and they lost him in the middle of the season. LSU, Alabama, you get up for it. What's your thoughts going into this game? Just basic overview of how this game looks to you coming into it this weekend.
I think the worry is this. You've seen LSU for 8 games, and now Brian Kelly's gone. But Joe Sloan is also gone, the LSU OC, and they elevate the running back coach, Frank Wilson. He's going to be the head coach. He's been the running back guy. They elevate the tight
Quality
end
guy too.
Oh, sure, no doubt. He's also been a head coach at UTSA. This isn't the first time he's been a head coach. He's the head coach at UTSA in his past. Now you elevate Atkins, the tight end coach. He's going to call plays. He's done that before. I mean, this isn't the first time for him. But the point being, LSU is going to change what they're doing. They're not going to be doing the same thing that they've been doing for 8 games. All Alabama can game plan on defense is what you've seen from 8 games. And you go look at Frank Wilson, you go look at what Atkins did when he was a play caller. But for the most part, Alabama's game plan will be based on what LSU has done over 8 games. There's going to be changes. There's going to be wrinkles. And it might not be changes that us in the stands, us in the press box, us on TV are pointing at the screen and going, they didn't do this before. They didn't do this before. I'm not saying that they're going to be obvious to everyone changes, but there will be changes and wrinkles. I think the key to the game is going to be Kane Womack's ability, the defense's ability to adjust in game. There's no way Alabama can guess exactly what those wrinkles will be, but they're coming. There could be wrinkles. There could be wholesale changes. Last year, Oklahoma used the bye week to put in Jackson Arnold running a bunch of RPO stuff they had never done all season long. Clearly caught Alabama. Alabama wasn't ready for that in the first half, and Oklahoma ran up a lot of offense in that half. Then they adjusted and sort of shut it down. But LSU is going to have changes and wrinkles. You don't know what they're going to be. The key to the game, in my mind, is Alabama's in-game adjustments on defense. That will decide how the game goes. Because if LSU scores 30, and I don't expect that, but if LSU scores 30, it's going to be difficult. Alabama's only averaging 29 points per game against SEC opposition. You've got to keep LSU in the teens, in the 20s, or low 20s to win the game. And I think Alabama can do that based on the LSU we've seen so far. But there's going to be some wrinkles and changes. How Alabama adjusts to that will dictate the outcome, in my opinion.
100%. And I literally was talking about this on my Tuesday breakdown. We do our breakdowns for the upcoming weekend on Tuesdays. And I brought up 3 keys, and most of them were just schematic. But every one of those keys was the ability to adjust, whether it was personnel or schematics. If you're making a strong step post snap left with a wide step, do we adjust with just making it a tighter step so we can? I know they're going to have to send pressure to disrupt our offense. They don't have the skill sets on the back end to maintain coverage for 3 seconds, for 4 seconds. They do a great job playing team defense on the back end, but getting in those man situations is something that Alabama has exploited at a high rate. I think against man defense right now, Ty's completion percentage is like 63%. So you're talking about a guy that's just seeing guys getting beat and getting them the ball, and then his completion percentage against pressures is 74%. So it's not much that you can really do to rattle Ty Simpson, but if you give them an opportunity, they will. You can't miss opportunities. And when you see something different that they've been doing on screen or on film that you haven't seen, the ability to adjust. We talked about this I highlighted this at the beginning of the show. This staff has done a great job. I go back to the Vanderbilt game with Kane Womack. We saw the week before Quay Russaw against Georgia had success doing jumping out in that 3-man front and floating across the 3-man front from that wolf position. Yanzi Pierre gets thrown into that situation after the injury. He's struggling a little bit. Everything's not flowing for him. But every couple snaps, you could see him picking up a little bit by a little bit. And after the second or third drive into the third quarter, I believe it was against Vanderbilt, you saw us kill that 3-man front, put Yanzi on the edge. Let's let him play ball. Let's help him out with LT and Keon on the other side. We're not ready for Justin Hill to get out there and throw him in the fire yet. We're not ready for Noah to get out there yet. Let's go out there and let these guys play ball. And that small adjustment, simple adjustment, changed the whole landscape of the game to where the run game in the second half against Vanderbilt was non-existent. They couldn't really complete passes. Missouri, we did the same thing against Missouri. Once something ran its course, we saw an immediate adjustment, and they started picking up. I think it was like 107 yards or something by Missouri or Tennessee. Was it Tennessee or Missouri? 100 and some yards in the fourth quarter of passing because of us playing off man or off zone coverage on the defensive end. But I look at it, man. The adjustments are there. They're being made. This is the game where you want to be able to kind of anticipate the timing of your adjustments. You want to be like, okay, if we stop this twice, watching UTSA film or whatever you've seen from this staff that you're scouting now, what is his tendencies? You can't go off play calls, but what are his tendencies? And then when you see certain sets, you can kind of project what the play call is based off alignment, pre-snap motions, and all that stuff. So I look at this game, man. This is an opportunity for Alabama to have a game, another tough game, but to handle it. The score won't tell how tough of a game this was for this Alabama LSU matchup. I truly believe that this is still an LSU team full of talent. Schematically, is going to be the challenge for Alabama going into this game, and I think they're more than prepared. This year.
They got LSU's got dudes. Brian Kelly was not fired from LSU because of his failure to recruit dudes to LSU. They got dudes on defense. They got dudes on offense. This is a talented team, as talented probably as anybody you'll face all year. Now they're flawed. Just about every team. I mean, whether it's Ohio State, Indiana, Texas A&M, Alabama, the top 4 teams in the college football playoff rankings, everyone's got holes. I think that's just 2025 college football. But LSU doesn't lack for dudes. What they lack is, I think Garrett Nussmeier's been hurt. Now, that's not inside scoop. That's just me watching him last year and this year. I'm not seeing the same guy. I mean, I think there were rumors this summer that he had a knee issue and he gets hit a lot. Their offensive line isn't great. They've had to move their center to left tackle. That hasn't worked out very well. And to the point they benched him and then went with a true freshman. That didn't go great. And that guy got hurt. So they got all sorts of problems up front. But Barry and Brown, Aaron Anderson, Nick Anderson, their tight end, Trey'Dez Green.
I was just about to say it.
Total freak. He's a freak show. I mean, he reminds me, he's a basketball player too. And I don't think this is a crazy comp. He reminds me of guys like Jimmy Graham and Antonio Gates, who were great college basketball players who became great pro tight ends. That's Trey'Dez Green. He is now, he's been hurt, and I think he's now getting healthy. He's a matchup nightmare. The running backs, Caden Durham and Harlan Berry, these are good football players. Now, the production hadn't been there, but I'll look more towards the offensive line and the fact that Nussmeier's been banged up. But defensively, Harold Perkins, good luck finding a more athletic guy than that. Now, I think he's had some positional issues, his dominant freshman pass rusher, move to off-ball linebacker. That didn't go so great. Now he's actually playing star. He plays the same spot Deshaun Jones plays for Alabama, but Harold Perkins was actually LSU's designated pass rusher 2 years ago and was almost unstoppable. But I think with him, kind of undersized for that position, I think with him, he's like, hey, I want to play pro football. They're not going to play me at defensive end. I'm barely 6'1". They're not going to play me at defensive end in the NFL. I need to find a spot where I can play pro football. LSU trying to help him out. But, hey, that helps everybody else out. Because
they help us a lot.
As a designated pass rusher, good luck, Wilkin, or Michael Carroll or Caden Proctor getting that guy blocked, but thankfully they don't play him there. But Perkins is a fantastic athlete. Whit Weeks is famously Lane Kiffin's daughter's boyfriend. But
that's funny. That's funny right there. I'm glad
he's been out. He's been out 2 or 3 weeks hurt, but I believe he's coming back for Alabama. Heck of a football.
For the teleconference today, they were saying that he is looking doubtful right now. They were expecting him to pick up today. Yes, good. And then also there's a lot of rumors. I haven't been able to confirm it. I talked to 2 guys that cover LSU. I have a nephew right now. He's red shirt right over there at LSU. Of course, he's not going to give me the sauce, but it's looking like Perkins is trying to hold out for the rest of the season. So if they're missing those 2 key players defensively. Their front has looked nice, but you can't have all of those 2 key guys right there, and then it depend on your secondary to come up and run support. I truly believe Alabama's going to try to lean on the run game early to establish that because of the struggles with LSU's run defense. I just don't see where they put together the perfect game plan and they beat us. They win this game if we give them the game, if we beat ourselves, just like we did against Oklahoma last year, just like we did. I'll say the same against Tennessee last year. We beat ourselves in those games. Vanderbilt they had their one. We didn't make good tackles and stuff, but I feel like if we do not show up and really attack those spots where those key players aren't, meaning running the inside zone, getting the outside zone, extension of the run game, getting those linebackers out the middle of the field to where their eyes are left or right and they can't keep their eyes on Ty Simpson. That's how you change the game. That's how you put LSU in the bind early in this game. Early in this game, you do that.
I love that. That's so true. Boy, without Weeks and Perkins, now you're taking away their dudes. That's what they're all about. That's what they got. That's what they got. It's not, they don't win the chess game. They out athlete people. And I do think Blake Baker is an outstanding defensive coordinator, but he's got to have his dudes to run his defense. Other than those two, the corner that they got from, I think, Virginia Tech, he's a transfer, Delaney, I think his name, outstanding player. Maybe as good as a cover corner as there is in the whole SEC. He's a lock, first-round pick. One of my bold predictions for this week, Coach, because of him outside, I mean, he's really good. And Alabama's good outside. You got Ryan sometimes out there. You usually have Germ and Zay Horton out there. That guy is crazy good. I like my bold prediction for the week is bigger games from the inside receivers. Lottie Brooks in the slot, even Josh Cuevas at tight end, plays in the middle of the field, keeping away from that cornerback who's so freaking good. That would be my bold prediction, a career game for Latsier Brooks, even though I know he's coming off a week where he missed. But I like a career game from him. When he's in, he plays inside almost exclusively. That kicks Ryan outside, where I think Ryan's a little better at the outside receiver position.
Working with more space, naturally, you're going to be better. You're the better athlete. You're quicker.
That's what he did all last year. I mean, all of Ryan's damage last year was outside. And this year I had to move him inside. Why? Because Zay Horton and Jeremy Bernard are outside receivers, and Ryan's the more natural guy to move inside. He struggled with a little bit, and he's also a little banged up. I mean, not everybody knows that, but he's got a little hamstring issue. I think he hasn't been 100% healthy all year long. He's fine to play, and he moved inside for a lot of snaps, and I think that explains his sophomore slump, if you want to call it that. He dropped some balls, and I realize that's a thing, not blowing it off. It is a thing. But I also think that if you want to just, put him on the bench, you're sort of putting, some running backs fumble the ball more than others. But if Adrian Peterson fumbles too much, you don't put him on the bench. I mean, Ryan Williams is that guy. Josh Allen, by the way, led the NFL in interceptions one year. Yeah. You don't bench Josh Allen for that. That's bad. It's not good, but you can't trade that for what he does when it goes well. That's Ryan. You got to take a little bit of the bad with the good, but he's dropped some balls. He's transitioning inside. He's a little banged up, but Ryan Williams is still a special player, special talent. But boy, my bet, if you do those prop bet type things, I like Latsier Brooks to have a really big game this weekend inside of that slot position. And if Perkins is out, by the way, he's been playing that DB star spot. And if he's out, I don't know who the backup is, but I just like Brooks to go off this weekend.
Me too. And not just Brooks, but I think even with some of the things that I was getting from practice today with personnel, seeing first group reps, getting that 5-6 man wide receiver rotation, I wouldn't be surprised if we get the likes of Derek Meadows to make some big plays in this game.
I like it.
I see how Ryan Grubb is kind of trying to conserve or preserve, not conserve, but preserve some of the big, I guess you could say big shot plays or eye candy plays. I can see where he's showing phases of this, but not really trying to throw it all out there to be dissected by opposing defenses. We got a 3-game stretch after this game that's going to really let us know what we are looking like going into the playoffs if we are able to do so. Going into the SEC championship game, I think going into that stretch, you have to have some type of confidence that you can lean on your run game at any point in time during the season. And we've had games where we've been able to do that. The numbers don't show it, but you look at the yard per carry average, listen to what Coach Ryan Grubb says as far as his target numbers. You allow Alabama anywhere from 3.4 to 4.1 yards per carry in a game. They're in a good spot. Ryan Grubb's feel comfortable with his offense, the way that the O-line is blocking when they're getting that type of push. LSU's giving up 4.1 yards per carry right now. You're allowing us to get at minimum of our average, and you're struggling in the secondary, giving up, the fifth or sixth most. I think it was the fifth or sixth most in the SEC passing touchdowns right now. You really got to wonder where LSU's fixes are, and the uncertainty of what they're bringing to the table is probably their best advantage right now, on top of just having natural talent. When you have that, those games get dangerous, and that's why we rolling over into it. Jimmy, I know you probably don't like doing these a lot, man.
Oh, you tell me.
I need your score prediction, man. I need your game synopsis of how it looks, and then give me a score prediction.
Yeah, I'm going to go 27-17 Alabama. I like where Alabama's at mentally as much as anything. I wouldn't say it's so much. I know fans want to hear there's a focus on the playoff. I think it's a pretty focused football team that's still fueled a little bit by the embarrassment of week 1 against Florida State. I also like the matchup in this sense. LSU's best side of the ball is defense. No question about that. Blake Baker's outstanding. But Alabama's best side of the ball, in my opinion, in terms of not giving the game away, is offense. So what I see, Coach, is a game where Alabama's not giving the game away on offense. They're not going to throw for 400 yards. They're not going to score 40 points like A&M did. But I see a mistake-free Alabama offensive performance that doesn't give the game away on offense. And defensively, Alabama does enough to limit LSU. LSU's got a lot of ability on offense, but the production just hasn't been there. It will shock me if Alabama's the defense that finally allows LSU's offense to explode. I do appreciate Frank Wilson. I like him. I like that they promoted him to interim head coach. He's a running back coach. He's going to lean on Caden Durham and Harlan Berry. I think that plays into Alabama's hands. Nussmeier's a little hurt. I won't be shocked, Coach. Here's my bold prediction. You wanted a bold prediction.
Mm-hmm.
I think we see Michael Van Buren in this game.
Yes.
LSU's QB2. I think we see Michael Van Buren. I think Michael Van Buren has some success in this game, but it won't be enough.
Yeah.
I think it might be kind of a 17-17 type game, and Alabama wins in the fourth quarter primarily because I just rely on this all the time, my predictions. Alabama's got more good players than LSU's got, and I think in the end, Alabama's more good players win out in the fourth quarter. I like Alabama to win by around 10 in a close game, and as soon as it's over, Alabama fans should be saying, I'm so glad that's over.
Yeah.
And you move on to the next one.
Those are the games.
Survive, advance.
Those are the games we need, though. I promise you, a lot of people, we've gotten so used to blowing teams out. Just remember how many times we got in the national championship, after blowing everybody out in the SEC or in the SEC championship game, and teams that have not looked like they were playing up to the level of Bama, they show up and they give us it's a one possession win, or we have to squeak it out by a field goal, or we get down late in the fourth quarter and we have to get uncharacteristic to be in the game and give ourselves a chance to win. We saw that happen during the dominant era of football, where the talent spread was not nearly as even as it is now. So now you're getting into situations where it's not just good LSU teams. You're talking about Vanderbilt is still right there on the outside looking in for their playoff spot. Tennessee is still right there, number 25 looking in. We've played quality teams where the talent, you look on the roster, you're like, man, Tennessee just they got Joey Aguilar as a starter quarterback. He was a top 15 quarterback coming out of high school. You look at and then how he's transitioned to Tennessee. Josh Heupel, we know he does. Just a lot of talent, coaching talent, and everything just spread around college football. You get to see more consistency show up. But one thing that has been consistent or that has been inconsistent is the team that show up, right? You can see play calling be consistent, but the teams that show up because of the talent spreads, some guys just get up one weekend and decide that they're not going to lose. And if LSU comes in with that mentality and Alabama is half-stepping by any means, I think the game could be just like you said. But if Alabama shows up, A-plus game, and plays a full 60-minute first half like they did against Georgia, or they play a full 60 minutes like they did against Vanderbilt, I'd even say the full 60 minutes like they played against Missouri on the road. That was a tough team. They were at their peak when we saw them. Defensively, just flying around, trying to create turnovers. Todd Simpson was, being put under pressure. The offensive line having to make adjustments, using extension of the run game to actually move the ball offensively. I think if we show up with our A game like we did against Missouri, like we did against Tennessee, if we show up like that for 60 minutes, I have this score being 41, Alabama 41, LSU 17. I just feel like
Got me excited. Got me excited. I'm looking forward to this.
Jimmy, I think because the run game has not seen the explosive runs yet, this will be the game. Jam Miller being 100%. Talked to him yesterday. That was, him and Michael Carroll, the energy that they're projecting with their voices right now, talking about this game, leading into this game. I love it, man. And I have a strong sense that we're going to rely on the run game, but it won't be a 3-yard pound and a cloud of dust, 3-yard and a cloud of dust type of run game. I believe 6-7 yard gains, 9-12 yard gains are going to be consistent. After seeing what Texas A&M did against Blake's defense last week, I don't think you do too much. 2 weeks ago now, I don't think you could do too much really to get guys to really see what their problem is when our run scheme is totally different from what Texas A&M does, and we run an extension of the run game so much more effectively than a lot of teams in college football. So I got this game 41-17 Alabama. My MVP for this game isn't coming from the offensive side though.
Okay,
I got Justin Jefferson really going off in this game.
Love it.
This is one of those games because I if they're going to depend on their run game, anytime he has time to make Justin Jefferson has an opportunity to make a play in space as far as tackling, him and Nikhai Hill-Green have been our best space tacklers. Deontay Lawson playing great right now, but those two have been the most consistent as far as their effort getting to the ball. You see their hats on every time the ball is out in space, you see those two around it. So I look for those guys to really that type of scenario to play out for Bama going into this game this weekend, man. So you said what was your final score?
27-17.
27-17.
We're sort of on the same page. I mean, I like your optimism in terms of the offense scoring points, but it could easily happen.
Yeah.
I'm not a doubter when it comes to what Alabama's ceiling is. Hey, someone's going to catch Alabama's best 60 minutes.
Yes.
We haven't seen it yet. Someone's going to catch Alabama's best 60 minutes. That could happen. These last 3 games are really tough opponents. One of my final thoughts is this, Coach. It's Blake Baker this weekend. That's the defensive coordinator at LSU. He's outstanding with a big-time national reputation. Number 2, Brent Venables against Oklahoma. As good as a defensive genius as there is in college football is Brent Venables. Yes. And then DJ Durkin at Auburn at the end. In terms of these 3 SEC, these are 3 very good defensive minds Alabama's finishing against. And I hope no one gets too frustrated maybe with some points that are scored, because these are 3 I don't know that in the playoff you're going to play 3 defensive minds in a row like Blake Baker, Brent Venables, and DJ Durkin. These guys are really good at their job and really good at the game plan. But overall, someone's going to catch Alabama's 60 minutes best performance. And if it's this weekend, I like your score.
100%, man. And I need this game, and even the 41-17 score, man, is not like a mishandling of LSU. I'm talking about like a good game, of a good 41. The score, I said this yesterday. I just feel like you said, if Van Buren gets in, they're moving the ball. They're just not turning it into points. And Alabama's turning around and scoring fast. That's what that's how you get that score. But I can see a world where 27-17, it looks like a blowout because of how Alabama slows the game down. They're picking at this certain area. LSU might find a spot that we can't adjust to, or they might get a turnover on the special teams or something to really create some momentum for them. But as far as shutting down Alabama's offense and pushing them outside of their wheelhouse and what we do to operate effectively at a high rate, I just can't see it happening. You're going to need some injuries to happen on the O-line. You're going to just need maybe looking for me or Caden Proctor doesn't wake up off the edge, and those 2 athletic defensive ends that they have, they finally go off this season. They've shown flashes throughout the season. That's what it would take for that game to be close for me. But great point about seeing those defensive coordinators, because these are the games where I truly believe Kalen DeWar is going to press Ryan Grubb to really attack offensively coming out of this bye week. Seeing that, we've got time to see all the mistakes, all the things that we want to get better on. Now we're going to give Ryan Grubb the full access to attack, be in more attack mode. which entails if you see when Ryan Grubb is aggressive, we get that aggressive Kane Womack play calling, and I love when we in that zone. So I'm excited about that. Now, Jimmy, final thing, man. This is what we passionate about right here. This recruiting, man.
I knew you were gonna say that.
I love recruiting, man. I think I'm more closer to recruiting because of my time on the sidelines and watching so many players get overlooked in recruiting, and just seeing guys develop over. I coached at the high school level for 4 years, and just seeing my freshman class come through. Guys coming in 5'3" as a freshman, then they graduated 6'5", 185, crazy stuff like that. And just seeing them not get opportunities when I know for a fact they could have played at the next level and been impactful, no matter what level it is. So I love recruiting, but when it comes to Bama recruiting, it gets real special, gets real sticky, because it's kind of like, I remember recruiting was probably like 9 months out the year. It happened year round, but really coverage for it was like 6 to 9 months out the year. Yeah. Now it's year round. You can't pull up Twitter or any other site when it comes to recruiting without seeing something about a player committing or this player visiting. So this weekend we got a lot of visitors coming this weekend. Do you got the list available? I don't
have it in front of me. I just know one guy that I would love to talk about, and that's the wide receiver from Michigan, Samson Gash.
Talk about it. I was literally about to tell people, Jimmy, would you be crazy? Would I be crazy for thinking that Alabama will go and be able to sign 5 wide receivers in this class? Would I be crazy for thinking that?
I wouldn't say it's crazy, because Alabama could certainly. And I think Gash is one of those guys. As a matter of fact, really optimistic that they could be adding Sam Gash here late. Michigan State. Hey, I can't exaggerate this point. Sam Gash is a track guy. He ran a 10.400 meters. That's the fastest 100-meter time in the history of Michigan high school track. And if you're like, well, how fast is that? It's from Michigan. Well, Jalen Waddle ran a 10.69.
Come on now.
So Sam Gash is in the 10.4s. And if you're like, oh, well, he must be a track guy with no football skills, go watch the tape. One of the things he does most impressively on tape is win 50-50 balls. That's not what track guys do. Track guys either get wide open and catch easy balls because they're 5 yards behind everybody and look a little soft. This guy's winning 50-50 balls against DBs. Michigan State loves this guy. He's got a little brother, Gideon Gash, who's also kind of a big-time prospect. I think he's in the 28, maybe 27 class. Sam Gash could join this group. You got C.D. Morgan, who's so much of a freak. I compare him to Julio Jones with a straight face.
Baby Julio. The first time I talked to CD, man, baby Julio, he got on the screen. I said, if this ain't Julio Jr.,
so you compare him to Julio too? You compare him to Julio too? Yeah, there's a lot of Julio in C.D. Morgan. A lot. Now, I'm not saying I don't want to go over the top. I wonder if Julio has a step or two on him, in terms of the speed and the quickness.
Breakaway speed.
At the same age, and let's see what happens, because kids can change a little bit. But CD, I compare him to Julio with a straight face. That's what I say. Meaning, he's not Julio. He's in the ballpark. Yeah. Owen Cabell, I think, is going to stick. What I wonder is, Alabama's wide receiver core, you only lose Jeremy Bernard for sure. Now, Zay Horton could go pro. I doubt it, to be honest. I doubt Zay Horton leaves, but he could. And then you got some guys who could leave in the portal. I don't want to name names. That's not fair. But you don't lose much from the wide receiver core. For that reason, I doubt Alabama's bringing in 4 or 5 receivers because the group is so deep. And there's also money. I mean, there's a that could be a whole show for us, Coach, on how there's kind of a salary cap now with the rev share. There's only so much you can bring in under the rules. So I'm guessing, and I'm going to give a shout out to Bone, one of my buddies at BOL. Because I talked to Bone, and he does great work at BOL. So I'm going to give him a shout out when I say this. Here's just a guess. I like Alabama's chances to flip Gash. Not sure you bring in Brian Williams.
Right. That's what I told people months ago when he signed. It was the surprise for me. I think he was just more so. It was the impact of that official visit where he saw just but then again, man, talking with him after that visit, I get the sense that regardless of who shows up, he feels like he's the better player.
Good player. I like Brian Williams. It has nothing to do. I'm sure Alabama does. They're willing to take him at one point, and certainly maybe willing to take him now. Lengthy dude,
Yeah.
Great hand. Brian Williams' hands are ridiculous.
Correct.
He really good
Rico
prospect.
Scott like with the
Yeah,
hands.
yeah, I love that. He's a possession freak, and I hate that a lot of fans kind of diminish possession receivers over the playmakers. But
Yeah.
possession receivers, there's a whole lot of them that are multimillionaires in the NFL. It's a
Debo.
valuable trait. But I think Sam Gash, he runs a 10-4, 100 meters. You can't teach someone to do that. You recruit that. You can't teach someone to do it.
Oh my
They can
God.
either do it or they can't. And I think Gash is just too. By the way, Gash earned his offer at Alabama's camp. They didn't just recruit him off of track time. He came to Alabama's camp. They offered him. He wanted to stay closer to home. He's got a little brother. He's from Michigan. But I think as so many kids develop and have talks with their parents and other people, they're like, hey, you know what? What might be best for my future is a place like Alabama that can prepare me for pro football better than some of these other programs. So I think Sam Gash to me is the big topic of conversation with Alabama recruiting. And do you add him, or does that mean another wide receiver's out the door? That to me is the topic of conversation with Alabama football recruiting this week.
100%. And I was going to talk about Gash. You know, I love my wide receivers, a former wide receiver coach, former wide receiver myself. When I look at the film, man, I literally see the catch radius is what I like when he's down. You don't see him struggling to catch balls over the shoulder. You see him going up, making 50 balls, like you said, just strong hands overall. The young man has an opportunity to come in next year. And I'm a side on the other side of this. I think Isaiah Horton finds himself in a solid second round situation. You see that 6'4" frame?
I love the high end with it. He can be that dude. I would just tell him, hey, have a year of big time production. The production hasn't been great, but that's not on it. That's not all on him, you know.
Right. And I think a lot of NFL scouts look at those things. You see a guy like Jermaine Burton, man. He could have went out after the first season with Bama and been a solid third, fourth round guy. But they wanted to see him come back and get that production. But look who he had throwing to him. No slight at Jalen Milroe, a guy that was transitioning to a new scheme, things of that nature, or being the first year as a starting quarterback. You see him struggle, right? So I look at it, and I as we get ready to wrap it up, man, this weekend is huge. You got a lot of offensive linemen showing up. This is a offensive line center class, to be honest. If you think about the way we loaded in 25, I think the staff has this philosophy of getting those young guys, getting them prepped early. So when you're in that transition phase of recruiting, when you got two solid classes and you got to kind of pad behind them because of the stacked talent and most people not wanting to show up and compete against that talent, you're setting yourself up for success with some of the guys. And even being able to throw young guys, Michael Carroll getting out there early this season and being impactful is basically a starter now with the amount of snaps he's playing. You look at even Lloyd Jackson with the snaps he's getting when you go into the crispy package. Like all of these young guys on the front, it's attractive to recruits when they come and see these guys actually warming up and getting actual snaps and game impactful snaps. And then, like you said, the wide receiver core, it's hard not to say I don't want to go play for Coach Kalen DeBoer, Ryan Grubb, and let Coach Shepard coach me as a wide receiver. It's hard to turn that down when you have an opportunity to really come in and grow. Because, like you said, speed, he'll find himself in a situation like Lashia Brooks. We're not going to throw you out there to run 90 snaps a game. You're going to get 15 to 20 snaps a game, and when we target you, it's going to be your bread and butter, and we're going to make you look good, and we're going to help you transition through this process and grow. But I'm excited about this weekend. Jimmy. I'm telling you, between recruits showing up and between this game just meaning so much compared to what it was last year, I'm excited. Final thoughts, Jimmy, before we get out of here, brother.
Yeah, just on your point, nice opportunity for offensive linemen coming in because there's a transition from Saban. Saban liked huge, jumbo-sized offensive linemen that can move people in the run game. I think DeBoer and Grubb like offensive linemen who are athletic, that have great feet, that are great pass blockers. And I think you're only in year two. Bit of a transition there from the Saban mold of offensive linemen to the DeBoer mold. And I think some of the struggles on the offensive line reflect the transition. But very excited about Alabama football. Very excited about the success that DeBoer, Womack, and Ryan Grubb are having. Exciting time for Alabama. But 3 tough football games, 3 losable football games. You win 2, you're in the playoff. That, to me, is a big, big deal in 2025. And I believe Alabama will win at least 2 of those 3 games and be in the college football playoff.
100%, Jimmy. I appreciate you, man. You know what? This is a long time coming. Finally got on screen with look, I'm gonna call him Unc, but he really a big brother to me. Hey, man, I'm telling you, this industry we've and my chat will tell you, man, we call out things that we feel ain't authentic, and we call out the BS when it comes to covering recruiting. It's an open industry. You know, I have my opinion. Everybody has their opinion. But when it comes to consistency and just having the information, or even when the information is not available or we haven't heard it yet, I know if I can't go find it myself, I can reference from my guys, Luke and Jimmy over at Locked On Bama. So y'all make sure y'all go show them some love. Jimmy, one more time, tell the people where they can find you before you get out of here, man. And make sure y'all go over there. And if you're not subscribed over there, you need to go ahead and go over there and subscribe. Make sure you're following on Twitter, all those good things. Jimmy, talk to the people for me, brother.
Thanks so much, Coach, and thanks for the good work you do here. You're, a big part of the Alabama coverage, and just really appreciate you having me on Locked On Bama. You can find us on YouTube. If you prefer, just listen to us on a podcast. You can find us on Spotify, Apple, wherever you get your podcast. But myself and my co-host, Luke Robinson, Locked On Bama, 7 days a week on the Locked On Network. Just so appreciative of Coach Smook to have me on. Been looking forward to this for a long time.
Hey, buddy, I appreciate you for coming on, man. Listen, I told y'all, man. AAA family, I told y'all we grinding. We trying to get the big dogs out here to talk for us, man. Talk with us and really give us the real what's going on. And you're talking about someone that's literally there, week in, week out with the things that's happening around the program. Can't appreciate the presence of having that available to the network. And Jimmy, you already know, man. Anytime, brother. Anytime. I'm ready. Anything you need from the young one, I'm here. And I appreciate you 100%. Y'all give it up for Jimmy one more time in the chat, man. One more time in the chat. Give it up for Jimmy. I appreciate you, Jimmy, 100%, man. And you have a blessed evening. We'll catch up, brother. You going to be at any of the games coming up?
All of them.
Okay, I'll definitely catch up with you Oklahoma weekend. I'll be there on campus.
Sounds good.
Ready to do some things, do some coverage on, you know how I do my thing. So I can't wait to link up with you, brother. Good to see you, man. And you have a blessed night, all right?
Appreciate it, Coach.
All right, man. Y'all give it up for Jimmy one more time, y'all. Thank you, brother. That's my guy, man. Hey, Jimmy, a straight up dude. I'm gonna tell you why I connected with Jimmy Stein. My first time being able to do media on Bama football on YouTube with Kyle Henderson. I showed up for the interviews, and this was the second time we was actually on the field when I met Jimmy in the field house. But the first time y'all know I did it in the big press room in Malmore, but then we went to the indoor facility, and I'm just looking at I see Jimmy, I see Nick Kelly, I see Charlie Potter. I'm like, man, I feel like I'm amongst celebrities because I love Bama football like that. So their word was my bond coming up until I got pulled into the industry, and to be there, and then just the genuineness, man. I didn't get a sideways look from Jimmy. I told y'all the story. I felt out of place, but Jimmy came up to me, Ryan Fowler, like names, people that I was actually listening to that actually impact this industry and the coverage of Alabama, and that word means something. They were the ones to reach out and shake my hand and like kind of tug me along and be like, hey, I'm going to show you this, or not necessarily show me the ropes, but be careful how you say this, or be careful how you move like this. And really never tried to change who I was when interacting with me. So I appreciate Jimmy for being such an authentic person. Y'all know what we stand for here on the Coach Smook Network. Authenticity above all. But y'all know I got to get out of here. I got choir rehearsal tonight, and I can't be late because the kids sang Sunday. We got the kids singing Sunday, y'all. The babies is singing Sunday. And you know your boy, Coach Smook, love the children, man. Yeah, I got 6 of them. That's why. Listen, don't talk about me. Don't talk about me. I got 6 of them. All right, and I love these children. So I appreciate everybody for tapping in today. Again, this is the Coach Smook Network. If you have not, please like the stream. Please follow on all platforms at Coach Smook. Subscribe to this channel and make sure you turn your notifications on, because if you think you enjoyed this one, we have more coming up. I got some former players pulling up before the end of the season. Iron Bowl week is going to be crazy for the Coach Smook Network. So if you're excited about that, run the likes up, continue to share. Let's get to that 4K subscriber goal before the end of the year. We're trying to make 5K for real, but we're gonna hit that 4K for sure. And as we continue to grow, you all will continue to grow. I love you, my AAA family. And remember, when you see me in the streets, holler at me and say, put me in the game, Coach Smook. I'll catch you on the next one. Be blessed.
Remember, when you see me in the streets, holler at me. Say, put me in the game, Coach Smook.
Put me in the game, Coach Smook. Put me in the game, Coach Smook.
Like, share, subscribe. You know we keep it live.
Put me in the game, Coach Smook. 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 Put me in the game, Coach Smook.